I have all of the colors of the new iPad 10th generation, the 2022 refresh, and they look stunning, but I'm just not super sure if it's worth the upgrade. Hey, I'm Ellie Awesome, Australian tech and lifestyle reviewer, and today I'll be reviewing the new iPad 10th generation, along with the new Magic Keyboard Folio, which I have right here. But with this release, I am honestly kind of shocked at what Apple has done. Namely, there's been a price increase with this device and others across the world. For the US models, I believe the price didn't increase, but it did here where I'm from in Australia and places like the UK. So I'm gonna take you through what I like about it and what's new, and then what I think could be better and whether you should upgrade or you shouldn't. So let's talk about what's new with the iPad 10. Firstly, that would have to be colors. One of those simple classics that Apple loves to do is throw in new colors into their line, and I love them. They're absolutely stunning and super fun. But not only that, you'll notice that the design has been completely upgraded. So the 9th generation iPad still had like the thick bezels on the top and the bottom, which is very traditional of a classic iPad, but is now kind of going out of fashion and disappearing into the ether. And honestly, this iPad design is not new looking. It looks just like the iPad Air 4, but it's not an iPad Air 4. It's still a different model with different features. Quick side note, if my voice is giving out in this video just a little bit, I'm getting over a cold, so if you're a new subscriber, I just want to give you a heads up that my voice is not usually this raspy and sexy. My accent's pretty sexy, right? So internally, we've now upgraded from the A13 chip to the A14 Bionic chip, which gives it a faster CPU and faster graphics, great for high-intensive gaming and super smooth usage of the iPad itself. There's also Wi-Fi 6 support, so if your Wi-Fi connection supports that, you can have super fast Wi-Fi, and if you get a cellular model, they now have 5G support. The back camera is totally upgraded. It's 12 megapixels now, and it records in 4K for the first time on this iPad. Apple has moved the camera from what used to be the top of the iPad to now a landscape orientation at the top here. So it's a little bit easier to do what would be kind of like a laptop orientation. I think that's a really good upgrade. But funnily enough, Apple did not upgrade the new iPad Pro in this way. They left the camera in the same place. That landscape camera is 12 megapixels and you do still get center stage. That's where the camera kind of follows you around a little bit. So that's really nice. We've got that. And for the first time on iPad, we've got landscape stereo speakers. So you've got left and right channels, which is also really great and they sound fantastic. We've had the screen stretch out. Interestingly, Apple said it extends all the way to the edges, the screen. It doesn't. There's like a bezel all the way around the iPad, but as opposed to the previous iPad with the two fat bars, like I was saying, it does extend right out and it does look nicer. Apple also now changed the Lightning charging port to a USB-C port, which has now basically moved the iPad family into USB-C territory, which is great. I'm a big USB-C fan, but there is a downside of this if you use the Apple Pencil. So before I move on to the things I'm not so stoked about, I will say, as it stands on its own, this is a great iPad with some great upgrades when it comes to the internals with performance and the externals with the beautiful design. But funnily enough, this seems a lot like an iPad Air 4, which you'd think is a good thing because that's a more expensive iPad at a higher tier. But Apple weirdly increased the price on this thing. So previously the iPad 9th gen in Australia was $499, and now the same 64 gigabyte model, completely redesigned mind you, starts at $749. What? Now, again, I want to be complimentary because I love Apple and say with all these upgrades and changes, you could almost argue that's kind of fair. Like, we've made it look more like an iPad Air and with more power. But this is like the entry-level iPad. This is the one that people that want an iPad go to when they don't have a lot of money to spend, and the one that all parents have to buy, most likely, for their kids for school. Also, and I almost forgot to mention this, and this baffles me, not only did the price increase of the 10th gen, but Apple increased the price of the 9th gen iPad, last year's model, and other products like the Apple Pencil. So in Australia, the 9th gen has gone from $499 to $549. The first gen pencil has gone from $145 to $159, and the second gen pencil has gone from $199 to $219. I don't know why. Like, we're coming into a recession, yo. That's hardcore. And I've always respected the premium price for Apple products because I think they're worth it. Like, as much as they're premium, they're good quality. But I have to be honest, it's just shocking to me that this has happened. Now, I also mentioned the Apple Pencil too. But in this case, it was just a fun fact. Disregard that information because the iPad 10 doesn't support the Apple Pencil 2. On one hand, it's not a big deal because arguably a lot of people that have the iPad will already either own the Apple Pencil 1 or be happy to just grab the Apple Pencil one. That's how it's been for all this time. But considering the iPad has a whole redesign change to look like the iPad Air, which supports an Apple Pencil 2, it's just surprising. It's like so new and redesigned, and Apple didn't want to add the 2 support. And see, I would be okay with all of this if they didn't change the connector to USB-C on the iPad, because to charge the Apple Pencil 1, you pop off the back and there is a lightning connector. Usually you would plug the lightning connector into your iPad. It looks funny, but you just do that to charge it and it would charge. Or arguably you'd plug it into like any lightning port, bam. And now because the iPad is USB-C, which I like, you need an adapter, a USB-C to lightning adapter. What? I know that shot was hideous, but I'm gonna keep it in. I don't entirely hate this, but it kind of sucks. There is a saving grace. Apple Pencil Gen 1s that are sold on Apple's website at least will now come with that adapter free. If you need a new Apple Pencil Gen 1, it's all in the box. But if you already have the Apple Pencil, you gotta buy the adapter. I mean, Apple fans are used to doing this kind of thing, so probably not too shocking to everyone, but it's just a bit of a bummer, right? Something else people are really not super chuffed about with this iPad is that it doesn't have a laminated screen. So this is just a new design that it's missing, which would be preferable, but my take is that it's more easy to repair if it has this style non-laminated screen. And I really do think this iPad is geared towards students, specifically younger kids, because iPads are like everywhere in schools these days. You kind of need one as part of the curriculum a lot of the time. So if your screen breaks, it will be easy to repair, which is probably a win for parents, especially because the price is a bit higher. There's also no anti-reflective coating though, which I love anything matte or anti-glare. You can buy just like simple screen protectors for that though, so that's an easy fix. But I haven't noticed it being too crazy for indoor use. Like indoor use are usually pretty chill, so that's not a huge deal for me. So with all of that said, if you aren't an Apple Pencil user, still a really good iPad. So yeah, let's get back into some more positives of this iPad, because there are more when it comes to this new Magic Keyboard Folio. I really like this thing. So this is a 2-piece clip-on folio, which acts like a case for your iPad, but has a keyboard. Now this is the only Apple brand proper clicky tactile keyboard for the iPad 10th Gen. Otherwise, you have to go to other brands, likely Logitech or something, for something similar. Now, if you've already decided that you're getting the iPad 10th Gen and you're happy with that, I will say straight off the bat, this is an awesome case and I highly recommend it. The only catch, it's $3.99 Australian. So it's super expensive. But again, if you're definitely getting this, it's sick. Like, it's just great. It doesn't require any charging. It just snaps on and it works. And you magnetically slap on the back plate. You can also flip it around, but then you're like, oh, the keyboard's in the way. So luckily, you can also rotate it, snap it in place, and then use it like this. The folio allows for 3 different sort of height adjustments. So I've managed to get it kind of in 3. I don't think you can go many others. The trackpad is a great size. You can also do all kinds of typical gestures on it that you do on either a laptop or an iPad. And it has a row of function keys. Love this. So you can adjust your volume, you can adjust your brightness. Super simple and easy. Also, the typing experience is excellent because it feels like your typical Apple keyboard that you're used to. So it won't slow you down if you're a fast typer like me. The only thing it is lacking, you could argue, is that it doesn't have backlit keys like the Pro edition of this keyboard. So this is the iPad Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pro 3rd, 4th, and 5th Gen. Now that I'm holding it, it's reminded me that this is hella heavy. Also, it needs charging. So to summarize, this is a really awesome iPad if you're upgrading from an older generation. It's not really worth the upgrade if you're coming from a 9. So I'm really curious who's buying this iPad and who isn't and why. Let me know in the comments, and also subscribe if you want to join my YouTube fam. I'm also on Insta and TikTok. I'd love to see you there. And otherwise, hope this helped you, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.